we're going to focus on rectangular prisms. I think of surface area as like wrapping a present, or when you were in elementary school and it was Valentine's Day, you took a box at home and you probably covered it in pink or red or glitter paper, and then you cut a hole in the top so your Valentines could go in there. So I have two figures drawn here. They're both the same. One is more three-dimensional, I guess, than another. But let's say that I had a rectangular prism. And I know that this is 7 inches. So the distance from here to here is 7 inches. From here to here is 4 inches. And the height of this box, we're going to say, is 2 inches. Okay? In order to find the surface area, you have to find out how much area needs to be covered for each side. So maybe when you were in elementary school, you took your box and you stood it up and you traced the side of it, and then you took the box away and cut it out, and then you had enough paper to cover the side. So I think we can agree that a rectangular prism has 6 sides. It has a front, it has a back, it has a top, it has a bottom, it has a side, and it has another side. Okay? So we're going to start with just finding the area. I think we can guarantee that our front, let's just assume that our front and back are the same and that we have a pretty square box. It isn't crushed on one side or something like that. So I tell kids, I'm just going to highlight what I work with so you can see. So this is what I'm talking about with the front, and the back would be somewhere back here. So my front is 7 by 2. So 7 times 2, and I get 14. So if my front is 14 inches, so is the back. Okay? Now, let's only focus on the top. The top, and of course, the bottom. So again, I'm looking at the measurements of just the top. The top is 7 by 4. 7 times 4 is 28. Well, if the top is 28 inches, so is the bottom. Next, let's focus on the side of our box. And you can see that the measurements are 4 by 2. 4 times 2 is 8. If one side is 8, so is the other. Now, when you were doing this in elementary and you were covering your Valentine's Day box, you didn't really add up all the surface area. You just cut and traced probably. But when we're doing this in math, we have to take and we have to add all of these up. So we have to add 14 and 14 and 28 and 28 and 8 and 8. And when you do that on a calculator, 14 plus 14 plus 28 plus 28 plus 8 plus 8, I get 100 inches squared. Remember, we're finding area, and area is always squared. We always label. Let's do another. Okay. So let's do my measurements now. Let's say that this is 4 centimeters by 3 centimeters we'll say 5. Not drawn to scale, but you get the idea. All right, again, 6 sides, right? We've got the front, back, we've got the top, bottom, side, and side. Okay? And I just kind of group these. Front and back are going to be the same. Top and the bottom are going to be the same. And my side are going to be the same. No boxes are crushed. Okay? So let's start with the front of my box here. Okay? I'm just shading in the front like that. You can see that the measurements for this front are 4 by 3. 4 times 3 is 12. If the front is 12 centimeters squared, guess what? So is the back. Okay? Let's do the top. This time we're working with this area right here. Okay? The measurements are 4 by 5. 4 times 5 is 20. So if the top is 20 centimeters squared, the bottom is 20 centimeters squared. Okay? Next, we're going to do the side. And you can see the side measures 5 by 3, which is 15. If one side is 15, so is the other. Now, what do I have to do? I have to add them all up. So I'm going to start 12 plus 12 plus 20 plus 20 plus 15 plus 15. 94 centimeters squared, my surface area. Let's do a word problem. Let's say you have a cube and you want to wrap the cube. And each side on the cube is 8 inches. I always tell kids the thing that I like to do is just draw a picture. I just draw a picture of my cube. And a cube, one thing you need to know, all the sides are the same, right? So here's my cube. This is a kind of a cool way to draw my cube. And we already know that this is going to be 8 by 8 by 8 because all the sides on a cube are the same. We still have to do the same process, right? We're wrapping this cube with wrapping paper. And we have a front, a back, a top, a bottom, a side, and a side. Okay? Again, if you're given a word problem, draw a picture and visualize it. That used to be really hard for me as a kid. I had a hard time seeing three-dimensional things. So if that's the case, try and color code. Get a colored pencil or highlighter and just highlight the side you're working with. So we're going to work with this front one first. Okay? And that's just this right here. And I'm just taking an 8 by 8. And I know that that's going to be 64. 8 times 8, 64. Well, if the front is 64, guess what? So is the bottom. Top. Gosh, this is going to look familiar. 8 by 8. 64. The top is 64, so is the bottom. Side. 8 by 8, right? If one side is 64, so is the other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I can add 64 6 times, or I can just take 64 times 6. And I get 384, units squared, whatever it was, centimeters, units.